Okay, I watched the replay of the workshop yesterday, and it seems like I didn't explain things very well. Some of the things that I was saying were, I really just kind of said it backwards, and just how I have a feeling that it was probably more confusing than helpful. So I want to take this time, make a couple of videos, and go through this opening range breakout and pullback system that we created. And really, I didn't do everything that I had set out to do, so I've kind of beefed this up a little bit, just added a couple of different things in here. It started out I was only going to do the breakout system, but then with that question about the pullback, then I kind of went off into that without finishing the first part of the system. So, and that's fine. But so now I've got these four different templates you can or logic tabs you can choose from. Well, the first one that we're looking at here is just an opening range breakout for minute type charts. Any chart with a that has wicks and where the close closes at different points between the high and the low. So let's do this. Let's kind of go over this first part of it, and then I'll do a replay, show you the calculate on bar close false, how if you wanted to enter on the first tick that broke out of the opening range, how you could do that. And then I'll make another video and show you this part and then some of the other logic tabs. Okay, so the main part of this system is just this one crossover solver. So we have a crossover solver, and we're looking at the first bar, or any bar that closes beyond, that crosses, where the close crosses the opening range high or the opening range low. So in this case, this is the first bar that closed beyond the opening range high, and then we had a close back inside the opening range here, and then the next bar closed above, so we get a long signal there, another close back inside, and then another cross of the closing price above the opening range high, so we get another long signal, and that happens a couple more times here. So let me just show you how I set up this crossover solver. So it's set for crude oil, which opens at 9, and we're using a 30-minute opening range. A lot of people will use a 5-minute, a 15-minute, an hour, 2 hours. For crude oil, I've read a lot of people use a half hour, and then crude oil closes at 2:30, and this is all Eastern time, of course, because the NYMEX is traded in New York. So it opens at 9, closes at 2:30, opening range ends at 9:30. And then for the high, we have a long. For the low, we have a short. And we're using the closing price from the drop-down menu. The crossover solver comes default using the type as indicator and the indicator as SMA 14, but we can just choose the shortcut closing price here, and that takes care of that. So next we will discuss this. Actually, okay, this is the signal counter, and I'm not going to go into great detail about it like Zach does. If you want to find out more about the signal counter, and you should really take a look at this. So just go to youtube.com, search shark indicators, and then Jeremy Tang. Nope. Yep, Shark Indicators BloodHound, and then select the channel by clicking on Jeremy Tang, and then search this channel by clicking on this search under the name. Search one signal per trend, and you get these 3 workshops that all deal with, in some way, the signal counter. And the way that I'm using it in this video is pertaining to this workshop. So allow only one trade per direction. So watch this and you'll understand better what I'm doing. And also look up the comparison solver, because that is the main solver that I use. I mean, it's probably the most important solver in my opinion. You'll use it more than any other one, and you really need to know how it works and know it well, and it'll make you more efficient in using BloodHound. So study the comparison solver. Find as many workshops as you can that use it, and go over them and study them and take notes. And then also go to the website, go to support. Goodness gracious. Go to support, learn BloodHound, video tutorials, and then on the right side here you have BloodHound reference. Go to indicator comparison right there. And then read all this and watch this video. Okay? So let's get on with it. So the signal counter, yeah. What I'm doing here, just connecting this solver to the signal counter, I have it set to count these up to the second signal. Let's do up to the third. And I have it set to analog, which is the way it comes default. What it's doing is you have the first signal here, second signal here, third signal here. It's counting up to the third signal. Okay, what that means is it's on the third signal, it goes, it gives you a full-on value of 1 once it gets to the number of signals that you're counting up to. So we're counting up to the third, 1, 2, 3. Once it hits the third, it turns on and stays on. You know, up until the look back period is gone. You know, it's gone through the whole entire look back period. And I've chosen 60 because we're looking at a 5-minute chart. From 9 a.m. to 2:30, there are 66 5-minute bars, but we're not looking at the first half hour, so we can eliminate those 6 bars. So really we only need 60 bars, but let's say you don't get the signal until 11 o'clock or 11:30. Well, then it's going to keep counting after the close, as you can see it's doing here. So in order to eliminate that, we need to set a reset. Okay, and with the reset, you can choose to reset it from the input signal, from the solver that's coming into the input. So on an opposite signal, you could reset it. Or you could choose to build another solver and reset it through this reset input here, as you can see right there. So what I've done is I want to eliminate the signals after the close. So after 2:30. So I choose a time session solver and go to the session. It comes default 24/7, but go and find it's, you know, crude oil is traded at the NYMEX, so NYMEX Energy RTH, regular trading hours. Okay, that means the hours from 9 a.m. to 2:30. That's the pit session, the regular trading hours. Okay, so choose that. You can also create your own custom template, but choose the NYMEX Energy RTH, hit OK, and when you connect that, it will give you both long and short output during that session. And then at the end of the session, you get no output whatsoever. Okay, so that means for the reset, we want to reset it on no signal. Reset no signal. So when it goes from giving both long and short output, and it goes to 0 to no output, then we want to reset. So that's why we choose here, reset no signal. So when we get no signal from the reset, which is the time session solver, then we want to reset the signal. We want to reset the counter signal. So you can see when I connect this, let's disconnect the reset. You have the counter counting way out here past 4:30. So to eliminate that, we just plug in this time session solver and choose to reset it upon no signal from the reset, and then it resets the counter signal, the signal counter. Okay? So now, what is the counter signal doing? The signal counter doing? It's counting up to that third signal. If I put in 4, it would count up to the fourth one being right here. Okay? But we want to eliminate, let's say we only want to take 1 trade per day, and 1 trade long or 1 trade short. We want to count from the second signal onward, so we want to allow that first signal. So we kind of want the opposite of what this is giving us. So what we have to do in that case is choose a logic node, the if-then node, which is already out here, and we run this into the if. So if this happens, if what we see here happening, if this happens, we basically want to eliminate that and only allow this. So I know this is kind of complicated and I'm probably not explaining it correctly, so watch that workshop video. But what happens here is when you set it up like this without connecting anything to the then, it will eliminate what's going into the if and only give you what's coming into the else, kind of minus the if. So if I were to connect, if this, then this, else this other solver, then it would give us both. Okay, but we don't want that, so we disconnect from the then, and then it gives us exactly what we want. We only get the first signal, but this will allow both a signal in the long direction and a signal in the short direction. So there you can see we get 1 long and then 1 short, but that's it. Only 1 long and only 1 short. If you wanted 2 trades per day, you wanted to allow 2, then you would count up to 3. And let me go back and find that spot where we had more than a few signals. Okay, let's say we wanted 3, then we set it to 4. And then we have the third one there. Okay. We don't get a close back inside. No. Okay. Yeah, let's say we wanted 4. We wanted to allow 4, so then we would count up to 5. Now here's where the tricky part comes in. What is 5 divided by, or what is 1 divided by 5? It's 0.2, right? So what that means is when you have selected 5 signals, it's dividing up the step into 0.2. Okay, so it's stepping in negative 0.2 for a short, then negative 0.4, then negative 0.6, then negative 0.8. Well, our threshold is 0.8. Okay, so it's actually including that 4th signal in with the 5th. Okay, because the threshold is 0.8. So what we need to do is set the threshold of the if-then statement to 0.9, or even to just 1. Because otherwise, you'll see if I set it back to 8, then it will eliminate that, because it's actually the signal counter is counting that as part of the signal. We could set the signal counter to 0.9, but that's really not going to help with the if-then statement. So, I'll set this to the if-then. You set this to 0.9 and it doesn't do anything. You have to set the if-then statement. The final the penultimate solver. Well, the solver just preceding the result. And there you have it. Okay? So that's important. When you're dealing with 5, if you're stepping, counting up to 5 and your threshold is set to 0.8, then the fourth is going to be equal to 0.8. So that logic, that makes logic sense, I would think. It might be kind of hard to understand how this signal threshold thing works, but with time you'll understand all this. If you're brand new to BloodHound, then it's like anything, especially with technology and software. There's a learning curve, and you'll have to learn it, but it's going to take you about 1/10 of the time, not even, I'd say 100th of the time to learn BloodHound than it would to learn programming strategies in NinjaTrader. So that does it for that. Let's keep it at 2, so we only want 1 signal in each direction. So we'll take 1 long or 1 short per day, that's it. Okay, so that's what this gives us here. So it's going to take the first close above or the first close below. All right. You know what? Let's say we'll take 2 in each direction, so we'll say 3, counting up to 3. Okay, and now I also went and changed this to 1, but this can go back to 0.8. Doesn't matter. That wasn't the issue. The issue is the if-then statement. This has to be changed. The if-then has to be changed to 1 or 0.9, just as long as it's not 0.8, because we're dealing with 5 signals, and then it divides it up, like I was saying, into 1/5, which is 0.2. Okay, so now let's just save that. Let's run the market replay. And I've got it set to calculate on bar close false. Well, it doesn't matter what. Okay, that's the SMA. That doesn't matter anyway. Doesn't matter what BloodHound is set to, but I've set it to false. It comes set default calculate on bar close true, but that doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and set it to false, and then we'll add SI Raven. Set it to calculate on bar close false, and then let it rip. So let's add Raven, which is the strategy component. Put in the template we just made. You don't have to do this, but I like to make sure that it's set up correctly. And it is. That's what we want. Yep. And then that's the entry that we want right there, that first one that we were just working with. And enter only when flat, true, backtest mode false. We're running market replay. We'll say 4 contracts. No profit target, we'll manage it by hand, but we will put in a stop loss so we can pull that up. We'll set it to 15 ticks, we'll set it to 20 ticks. Trail the stop, false. Calculate on bar close, false, because we want to enter on the first tick that breaks out of the range. And we will enable that. And good to go. So now let's run it. I think it'll take about 5 minutes. The opening range isn't going to set until the close of the specified period of time that you've chosen for the opening range, which is, in this case, half hour. So it will... You gotta be kidding me. Wait for the program to respond. Naturally. Alright, I'll pause this and see if it'll catch up. Okay, now it's working. So, in a couple of minutes, it will bust on through. and we should get an order filled right on the first tick that breaks above. Let's see if we get that. There we go. Up. What happened? Oh, it dismissed my strategy. That's what was going on. Let's do this. Let's keep it false. Let's set the replay back. This is turning into an all-day affair. Alright. I'll pause this, and then when it catches up and I've loaded the strategy, then I'll... Well, it looks like it's already caught up. Okay, load it again. False. 4. Stop loss of 20. Enable it. Calculate on bar close. False. Let's go for it. Okay, there we are. Now we'll set this to the same one we're going to be using. Okay, so let's play it. Pushing it forward, 50 times speed, normal speed. I think it's like 30 seconds, right about any second now it's going to pop. And we should get filled on that first bar. Okay, what is going on? This is ridiculous. Right. Well, I'm just going to press play and hopefully it'll break down below it and break back above it.
Order pending.
Yep, there we go. Cool. Well, that worked. So you can see it will fill you on the first tick that breaks out either direction when you have it set up to calculate on bar close false right here. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that. Let's go ahead and pull this stop up. Let's run this forward. Should have volume on here. There we go.
Order filled.
Okay. Cool. So that's that. I think that's pretty well a wrap for this video. So that's the first, I mean, that's the essentially the bare bones minimum for a breakout type entry. and then you can just kind of control the number of trades you want to allow it to take with this signal counter node set up with this if-then logic node here. Okay, and you can, like I said, you can learn more about that through watching this workshop, allowing only one trade per direction. Okay, so check that out. Alright, I'll make another video and show you the rest of the stuff. Okay.